Now, let's just wrap up a couple little things from the weekend. I said it during the race, you can't deny this special thing that Shane van Gisbergen has got. Just to remind you, he's in a new chassis this weekend. I believe they're going to test to maybe put him back in the old chassis, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. But sometimes the way to picture this is our gap to leader. These little lines you see here are 5 seconds, right? So if I just put Shane up there he is, right? So he's going along as the leader. And then everyone's time we compare against his in these little 5-second intervals. Now, if I go back to his first stint, because that's his pit stop, and it doesn't matter how many drivers, who they are, I can go all the way down the field, just keep going. Just quite remarkable when you look at Shane's pace versus the whole field. During that whole first stint to the first pit stop, no one in that field even remotely turned their car around and came back at him. He was just on his way and they just fell away. That's just extraordinary. And then after their pit stops, again, nothing changed. A couple of instructive things here. Heimgartner did hang on, quite good pace. Very well done. And that Feeney Di Pasquale battle we saw, you can just see here, there's evidence of it. This is Anton, the yellow line here, and this is Feeney. So Anton's pace was okay, not great, not bad. It was more that Feeney's tyres dropped away compared to his teammates Shane van Gisbergen. So I found that, you know, that dominance is just unbelievable. Now, a couple of other things. Here's a quick look at the championship. The tops are in the championship now. The yellow lines are where they've come from last year, so you can just see, first of all, Will Brown. What a trajectory. Led there for a little while, but he's dropped off. There's Neil. Happy birthday, mate. Look at that. There's an old stalwart if I've ever seen one. Love you, brother. And then we've got, you can see Brody Kostecki back in the lead, but the big story, without a doubt, his demeanour this whole weekend, entirely different since Darwin when he's had his steering dramas, is Shane van Gisbergen. He's the coming man. So you can just sort of see it's going to be red hot later in the year. And then finally, I just want to go back, because I ran out of time this morning. This whole bump and run issue, it's a biggie. Make no mistake, we all love the bump and run. We love the niggle. We love the little bit of contact. This is part of the game. But the problem is, why you've got to have a rule around it and why I support the decision that's made, when you get to, so there's the little pump, contact, contact, contact. When you get to the point that it's that, right, which is what the rule is, if you make contact and then you benefit from that, as a race driver, what's real, and I'm not saying Shane did anything easy, Shane is one of the greatest drivers we will ever see, you'll ever see. But as a race driver, it is really easy if the game was to come up behind someone and just bump them out of the way and go on with it. If we had that going on all the way in the field, there wouldn't be no race. What's really hard as a race driver is to come up behind someone and outsmart them. Niggle them, yes. Make them force an error, yes. Out-strategise them, whatever it is. So the reason we have that rule is so we just don't have anyone bumping everyone out of the road and on with it. Would not be entertaining in the first instance, but you won't end up with good racing. So, look, that was a really hard one. I'm glad I didn't have to adjudicate on it. So, but I think at the end of the day, the right decisions were made.